The galaxy had known her name for centuries. She was called Queen Seraphine, the sovereign of every throne in the Zerathian constellation. Planets bent under her will, fleets of starships obeyed her without question, and entire civilizations whispered her titles in reverence, or fear. From the floating cities of Vera to the crystal domes of Calith, Seraphine's rule was absolute. Her throne wasn't a single seat, it was a network of command nodes, each one infused with her consciousness, allowing her to control and oversee the galaxy simultaneously. She had no rival, no threat, until the humans arrived. I was Lieutenant Adrian Vale, stationed aboard the Starship Odyssey, part of the first interstellar mission humanity had ever sent beyond the Solari Gate. Our mandate was simple: explore, document, and survive. But when we entered the Zerathian constellation, we quickly realized survival would be more complicated than we imagined. The first encounter with Queen Seraphine was intimidating. Her ship appeared in our sensors like a ghost, vast and impossibly sleek, glowing with bioluminescent circuitry. Communication attempts failed. Then a single message arrived in our minds, not through comms but directly telepathically. Bow before me, human. Submit, and you will live in my empire. I froze. Telepathic communication wasn't theoretically impossible, but this was far beyond anything humanity had experienced. My instincts screamed obedience, but something in me, a stubborn human defiance, refused. We do not bow, I replied through the secure translator, my voice steady. We are explorers, not subjects. Chapter 2, The Challenge. Her laughter echoed across the comms, though no sound waves were involved. It was a melody and a weapon all at once. Bold, she said. Few dare defy me. You will regret this, human. And then the challenge began. Across the galaxy, every throne she controlled, every planet, every fleet, every sentient species, was mobilized to enforce her will. She sent envoys, generals, and spies. Entire worlds shifted allegiance almost instantly, leaving us isolated. Yet each time she pressed her power, humanity adapted. I led diplomatic missions, formed alliances with minor alien species who had resisted her rule, and discovered weaknesses in her networked thrones. Every throne required a connection to her consciousness, a channel that could be disrupted. One night, in the observation deck of the Odyssey, I reviewed the data with Commander Lysandra. She was a human scientist with expertise in quantum networks, and she understood the stakes as clearly as I did. These thrones, she said, pointing to the holographic map, they're linked. If we sever the connection simultaneously, even briefly, her influence collapses for a moment. That might give us a chance to negotiate or escape. I nodded, realizing this wasn't just about survival. This was the first real challenge any species had posed to her authority. The first human to defy the throne, and live. Chapter 3, Infiltration and Discovery. The plan was audacious. We would infiltrate the throne networks directly, boarding her flagship under the guise of surrender. It was the only way to access the core of her power, the neural nexus that anchored all her consciousness nodes. As we approached her colossal vessel, it seemed to pulse with life. Walls breathed. Lights shifted with intention. Servants, both organic and synthetic, greeted us with smiles that were just a fraction too perfect. It felt alive. In the corridors, Lysandra whispered, every step here is being watched, but not just by eyes. She knows when you doubt, when you hesitate. I swallowed hard. Then we must not hesitate. We reached the central chamber. There, hovering above a throne that defied size and shape conventions, was Seraphine herself. She was radiant, her form shifting subtly, arms extended like branches, eyes like molten starlight. You are reckless, she said, her voice resonating with the power of 1,000 worlds. Why do you resist what is inevitable? Because humanity does not kneel, I replied. Because freedom cannot be enslaved, even by a queen who controls every throne. For the first time, I noticed hesitation in her movements. Subtle, almost imperceptible. And in that moment I understood. She had never faced someone who refused to submit, someone who could challenge her not with weapons but with will. Chapter 4, The Nexus. Lysandra and I reached the Nexus. It was a swirling sphere of energy, threads of consciousness radiating outward like the branches of a living tree. Each thread represented a throne, a world, a life under her rule. "This is it," Lysandra said. "If we can disrupt the Nexus for even a few seconds, we might sever her control and force her to negotiate." I connected the override module we had smuggled aboard, feeling the hum of alien energy coursing through the ship. The Nexus pulsed in response, almost sentient, reacting to our intrusion. "Human," Seraphine's voice echoed directly inside my mind, tinged with curiosity, not anger. "You dare touch the heart of my empire?" "I dare," I said. "Because no throne should hold absolute power over sentient beings. Not yours, not anyone's." The Nexus shimmered violently. Planets flickered in and out of control. Fleets paused mid-battle. For a brief, shining moment, the galaxy held its breath. And then, success. Chapter 5. Negotiation and Revelation. With her network temporarily disrupted, Seraphine materialized in front of us in full form. She no longer radiated menace but something new. Respect? Fascination? "You are unlike any human I have encountered," she admitted. "You refuse to bow, yet you wield power over those who serve me. You understand balance." "I don't want your throne," I said. "I want cooperation. Freedom." She studied me, her shifting form a cascade of colors. "Very well," she said finally. "I have ruled countless worlds, but perhaps I have underestimated the human spirit. I will grant this negotiation, but know this, I am not easily swayed." We spoke for hours, about autonomy, responsibility, and mutual protection. Slowly, she agreed to release several civilizations from her absolute control. She would retain her influence, yes, but no longer through fear alone. For the first time, Seraphine considered diplomacy instead of dominance. Chapter 6. The Aftermath. When we left her flagship, the galaxy felt different. There was still awe surrounding Seraphine, but also hope. Planets celebrated their newfound autonomy. Humanity's defiance became legendary, a story that would be told for centuries. I returned to the Odyssey, exhausted but triumphant. Lysandra smiled. "You did it," she said. "You made her see us as equals." I shook my head. "We didn't just survive. We reminded the galaxy that power means nothing without respect." And somewhere, far across the stars, I sensed Seraphine watching, not with dominance but with curiosity. A queen who had ruled every throne now understood the value of resistance, of choice, and of human determination. Ending, the human that changed the queen. Years later, I would recount this story to diplomats, scholars, and explorers. A human who refused to follow a queen had shifted the balance of the galaxy. Seraphine never returned to her old ways entirely, but she began to listen, negotiate, and respect. And as for me, I realized that power isn't measured by how many thrones you command, but by the courage to stand when all the universe expects you to kneel. One question, one refusal, one human spirit had changed everything. The galaxy had learned something vital. Even the mightiest queen cannot rule without those who choose to follow, or to resist. The stars seemed brighter that night, not because of conquest, but because freedom had finally taken its place among them.